Ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays and welcome back to Hold My Nuggets Incorporated for your 2019 NFL Week 16 post-game analysis show. I am your host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. Now, as you can hear, I am losing my voice. Now, I'm going to take a couple of days easy. I'm not going to do too much screaming, not going to do too much hollering. I am going to still be uploading here and there when I can, but I don't know why I said when I can, when I know it's going to end up being every day. I'm relentless, unyielding desire to go and post content, so I'm sure it's going to be every single day. But regardless, taking it very easy on my voice. But let's break down exactly what transpired this past Week 16, and I hope you guys enjoyed your holidays, had a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Post-Thanksgiving, whatever the hell it is that you celebrate. Hope you had a good time. But let's break down what transpired. First and foremost, Saturday afternoon football, all right? The Texans hosting, or I should say traveling, to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a game that I told you guys I have the Bucs winning as long as Jameis Winston don't throw 2 interceptions. This man threw 2 pick sixes within the first 2 minutes. One of them got called back, but he ended the day with 4 INTs. Classic Jameis Winston. More importantly, they tied up the game at 20 apiece, and then ultimately Jameis throws an INT to lose the doggone game. You talk about how Jameis is hot and cold. Katy Perry was singing about this man when she made Hot and Cold. Son. I'm telling you, Jameis, it makes no sense. It's not as if the Texans did anything dynamic. It's not like the Texans came out here and ran down their throat. That's not what happened. Deshaun Watson was 19 of 32, 184 yards and an INT. Mediocre. He was their leading rusher with 37 yards. Carlos Hyde only ran for 27. DeAndre Hopkins was virtually non-existent with 5 catches for 23 yards. And only the interceptions of Jameis kept them away from winning this game for Tampa Bay. There's nothing else that has to be said. It's purely on the shoulder of Jameis Winston. He brought them back into the game. He also cost them the game. It's very bizarre to watch Tampa Bay games and try to decipher them because it's really just Jameis. The defense actually came to play for Tampa, and Jameis cost them the victory. Honestly, as I've said countless times, if Jameis Winston cuts his interception total in half, this man is not only an MVP candidate, he also has Tampa Bay in the playoffs right now, because there's no doubt in my mind, about 4 games, it's been simply Jameis who cost him the game with an INT. Remove half of his INT total, because I think right now he's at 28. Give the man just 14. Get rid of those crucial interceptions. They win in London against Carolina. They beat, they beat San Francisco on opening day. They defeat the Texans here. That put them at 10 wins. And they also have another win. I'm forgetting who they lost to because of another Jameis INT. Is it Tennessee? Perhaps it's Tennessee. I cannot recall. But whatever the case may have been, Tampa would have probably messed around and had 11 wins right now if Jameis wasn't so Jameis. But at the same time, they wouldn't have 7 wins if Jameis wasn't so Jameis. And I'm hearing now he wants $30 million a year next year. Jameis Winston is the ultimate genjutsu. That's all I got to say. But good victory for the Texans, wrapping up the AFC South. And now they're going into a game which is virtually meaningless for them, because I do not think they can ascend from the 4 seed. So most likely we could see them end up resting. So for Tennessee, who needs to win and then they're in, this is rather favorable. But good victory for the Texans. And for the Buccaneers, Jameis, what the hell? That was bizarre. Camera cut off much faster than I anticipated. But regardless, let's break down the Bills taking on the Patriots, all right? This was a game that the Bills had to win if they wanted to possibly win their division, because all they would have to do is win this week, and then I believe win in week 17, or perhaps they would need the Patriots to lose again. But whatever the case may have been, the Patriots did not lose, and they wrapped up the AFC East for the 11th time, and I believe the 16th or 17th time it might just be 18th time with Belichick and Brady. So whatever the case may have been, it's just utter dominance. It might mess around and be 19, but whatever the case may be. All right, the Patriots took care of business. For the Bills, this is one of the problems that I had. when your run game is not going the way that you want it. Josh Allen had 43 yards on the ground. Devin Singletary had 46. They did not amass over 100. Josh Allen was 13 of 26, 208 yards and 2 TDs. Cole Beasley was the only receiver who came to play outside of that one touchdown pass to John Brown. His only catch, I might add. Cole Beasley, 7 catches, 108. Outside of that, nobody else came to play. The Bills had it in their grasp. They had a 17-13 lead. And then what happened? What happened? After their touchdown in the third quarter to give them that 17 point, 17-16 or 17-13, the Patriots get a field goal. And then what do we see the Bills do? Or I should say before the Patriots field goal. 3-and-out punt. Another 3-and-out punt. And then a turnover on downs in their final drive. This is my issue with the Bills. This is my issue with the Bills. Can I trust you guys to go and play a complete game? Does it take the other team to shoot themselves in the foot in order for you to win? I still believe the Bills can possibly make a playoff push, but if they play against New England, it's over. And because they're going to be stuck in that 5 seed now, all right, so they're stuck at that 5 seed. They're going to have to most likely travel to go to Houston, which is a game that I do believe that they can win. But my only concern is, offensively, will you be able to throw the football? Because the Texans, although they're not, they're not run stoppers by any means, will they go out there and shut down your run? But if in the event that the Bills' run game does get stifled, do you trust Josh Allen to kill a team with his arm? This is really yet to be seen. I became a little bit of a believer, but over the course of the last 3 weeks, they may have won one of their last 3, that being against my Pittsburgh Steelers. But still, I'm a bit concerned about that pass game, man. I'm a bit concerned about that pass game. Tough loss for them, but still, they have their playoff berth clinched. For the Patriots, this was the first game that Tom Brady was over 100 passer rating since week 5. All right, they did not play too exceptional either. All right, settling for a ton of field goals and, I should say, in situations in which we'd see Brady and them punch it into the end zone. But of course, he's 42. It's an older regime. He's playing with way less talent than he has in quite some time. But still, it's the Patriots. All they need is an invitation to the dance, which they have. So we'll see how things transmogrify into the playoffs. But Sony Michel on the ground, nearly 100 yards. So if you can get that run game going, this Patriots team will continue to do what they always do in the postseason, and that show up. Tom Brady and the Patriots have never won a Super Bowl without the first round bye. So it's imperative that they win this weekend against Miami. If they do lose and Kansas City wins, Kansas City now becomes a 2 seed, and we're going to see the Patriots in the wild card. But regardless, good victory for New England. And the last of the Saturday night games, NFC West battle, the Los Angeles Rams taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And what I tell you guys, the Rams is going to lose, and they got written down the death note. How did this happen? The Rams had all of the control of the game. All of the control of the game in the first half. And then midway through the second quarter, all of a sudden the emergence of the San Francisco 49ers. They scored 21 points in the second quarter. Let me just walk you down these Rams drives, all right? They started out the game 7 plays, 75 yards, and a TD. Their very next 2 possessions, they punted. Then after an INT, they went down the field and they scored again, scoring 14-3. Then the Niners respond with a touchdown. The Rams respond with a touchdown, 21-10. What happens after that? You allow the 49ers 9 plays, 75 yards in the TD. Then you get a motherfucking pick 6. What the hell just happened there? Now you're looking at a tie game at 21. Not even tie game. It was 24-21. The Niners took the lead. The Rams continued to battle back, and then their defense failed them. When it was all tied up after Legatron tied it up at 31 apiece, what happens? Once again, the Niners showed their their intestinal fortitude, show that they don't drive automatic. They got the clutch in the car, and the same thing we saw in New Orleans, we saw once again, this time in Santa Clara against the Rams. Opportunity to stop, or I should say kick, the Niners off the field with under 2 minutes left to play. What happens? Garoppolo connects with Bourne. They needed 16. They got 18, right? Then, 3rd and 16. Again, opportunity to get a stop. Garoppolo, Manuel Sanders. They needed 16. They got 46. The Niners showcasing, hey, not only can they come back, not only can they bang out close wins, not only can they blow you out, they're showing they're extremely complete football team. And for the Rams, this was a down season. You played Jared Goff all of that money. He came out and laid a dud. A dud. If there's any person or team that is the most disappointing this season, it's the Los Angeles Rams. It's Jared Goff. Bar none. Bar none. Piss poor performance on the season. They've had some tough breaks go in their direction, but still, this was a game that you had to have, and ultimately they did not complete the process, and that's why they got written down the death note and they took that L. For San Francisco, now you're in a situation where you control your own destiny. You win, you're the number 1 seed. You lose, you drop to the number 5 seed, and you're gonna have to go on the road to go play against Philadelphia or Dallas, which is not really too big of an issue for you. I have no doubt in my mind they will slap the hell out of whoever the hell is the wild card team, which will most likely be the Philadelphia Eagles. But this ain't where you want to be. You want to be the number 1 seed and have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So here's your opportunity to take care of business. I'll break that down tomorrow. But good victory for the Niners. And thus far in these picks, I was 3-0. Now let's fast forward to Sunday. Broncos taking on the Lions. I did not foresee the Lions winning this game, and they did not. They fell to Denver 27-17. All right. This was nothing really impressive from the Lions. They didn't do anything. You still had Blau out there, so I didn't expect too much from them. But Philip Lindsay had over a 100-yard day. I didn't foresee that. I didn't think that was going to happen. All right, I thought he was going to go out there and continue to have a bad season, not do too well, but evidently he went out there, went over 100 yards, so kudos to him. All right, Drew Lock through the air, 25 of 33, 192 and a TD. All right, now for this team, it was a very good win that they needed, but unfortunately, obviously, they're in the death note, so there's nothing else that they can do. But still, good victory for them. For the Lions, they got to regroup, rebuild, and move forward. You remember they was like 3 and something when they started out the season. I don't think they've won a game in over a month and a half. Hell, it might just be 2 months. I can't remember the last time I saw a game in which the Lions came out victorious. They found ways to screw themselves out of victories left and right. But for Denver, they definitely need this win. Keep the W column, increasing for Mangio. But whatever the case may have been, good for those guys. They got the W. They're not going anywhere into the postseason, but still, it's good for morale. And now, no charges, no losing to the Raiders, who surprisingly still have a chance to make the postseason. All right, they just need a little bit of help. They need Tennessee to lose, they need Pittsburgh to lose, and they need Indianapolis to beat. Who's Indianapolis playing this week? They need Indianapolis to beat Jacksonville. And then that would put the Raiders in the playoffs. But they took care of business against Los Angeles. I thought the Chargers would possibly, go out there and get themselves a W, but that was not the case. The Raiders once again took advantage of the Chargers. I thought the Chargers would be able to run the football effectively. That was not the case. All right, Melvin Gordon only had 9 carries for 15 yards, but had 2 TDs. Austin Eckler, 4 carries, 11 yards, and nobody else was in the positive. They didn't run for over 30 yards. It's ridiculous. All right? And it's not even as if they fell behind, by a ridiculous lead. All right? Because the Raiders did score every quarter, but it was a touchdown, a field goal. So I'm not understanding why there was no play calls for the runs, especially when you saw in the first game, they ran with ease. It was just the turnovers of Phillip Rivers that cost them. This particular time around, Phillip Rivers was 27 for 39, 279 yards, but he did not kill him. He didn't kill him with interceptions. This was just on the play calling sort of situation. If you break down the different sort of possessions, after the open 3 and out for the Chargers, the Raiders went down the field and they scored early. You had a big time play from Derek Vehicle over to Hunter Renfrow for 56 yards, so that was big. But after that, it was a punt, 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 and then you saw a tie game at 7-7, but then the Raiders responded right after. That was the end of the half, and the Raiders came out of the half with a touchdown. Now with the Chargers facing a deficit of 2 scores, they scored, the Raiders kicked the field goal, and then to close out the game, punt, a field goal, and they never had the opportunity to get the ball back. 13 plays, 76-yard drive in 2 minutes, and these dudes only was able to squander up a field goal and have to hope on a onside kick. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yet another game the Chargers lose by a touchdown. It's saddening, but hey, it is what it is. Good victory for those gritty grinders. They're keeping their playoff hopes alive. Who knows if things will fall in their favor, but we'll find out. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Jaguars. This was a game that nobody really wanted to go and see, but the Falcons jumped out to an early lead. All right, they were up 17-3. You had an early touchdown. Then on the onside, or I should say on the ensuing kickoff, there was a fumble once again, and then the Falcons took a 14-0 lead. A lot of people thought Gardner Minshew would go out here and have a very good game. That was not the case. He was 13 of 31, 181 and a TD, did virtually nothing. All right, Leonard Fournette on the ground, 71 yards, but did not do too much. He did not have his, impact out there. More importantly, the Jaguars even score a touchdown. Yes, they did in the fourth quarter. It was 24-6, and then they went into the end zone. They scored. They missed the extra point. But no, they went for two. Pardon me. They went for two. Minshew threw it inside, and it was incomplete. But whatever the case may have been, Falcons took care of business on the ground. You did see Freeman got into the end zone on 13 carries. Also, he had a touchdown catch as well. Julio Jones over 10 catches, 166. So very good game for him. And this was what the Falcons needed, what the doctor ordered. They're 6-9 right now. Hopefully next game they can move back to 7-9 and then pretty much close the chapter on the Dan Quinn era. For the Jags, most likely going to continue to roll with Minshew, and then who knows what they're going to be doing with Nick Foles moving forward. But this game did not have any playoff implications. So good W for the Falcons. Cleveland Browns taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I'll say this much: I figured the Ravens would win this game, but the Browns would make it interesting because when Cleveland plays against Baltimore, they're very good. It's always a good matchup, and they know each other well. All right, but this particular game, once again, you'd wonder why the Cleveland Browns continue to lose. They screw themselves out of games. Freddie Kitchens and the play calling was absolutely atrocious. Nick Chubb did not get going the way that he did in the first game. He had 15 carries, 45 yards, didn't really do too much. Baker Mayfield didn't kill them with INTs, but he was 20 for 33, 192, 2 TDs, and an INT. Jarvis had 74 yards. Odell had 44 yards. But look at the Cleveland possession. Punt, they scored a touchdown. Punt, the end of the first half. Field goal, touchdown, interception. But for Baltimore, as the game progressed, they had a turnover on downs, then a fumble, then a punt, but look at what happened once they got the scoring going. Touchdown, another touchdown. That ended the half. Third quarter, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. They scored 5 consecutive drives. When Baltimore gets going, they get going and they will not stop. It's very tough to stop a team like that. More importantly, they had the ball for 34 minutes. The minute that they figured out, all right, this is how we're going to play the game, Cleveland was completely out of the game. They completely forget how to play football. They forgot how to play defense. Lamar Jackson got going. He was 20 of 31, 238, and 3 TDs. On the ground, he also ran for over 100 yards. Gus Edwards gave him an additional 66. But we did see Lamar limping. You saw Mark Ingram score a touchdown and then ultimately started limping himself. So those guys got a rest, and I don't believe they will be playing Week 17 against Pittsburgh. Mark Andrews, 6 catches, 93 yards, and 2 TDs. The franchise-leading touchdown record for, I should say, he has the record now for touchdowns in a season for a tight end in Baltimore, in the Baltimore record book. So kudos out to him. He broke it last week, I believe. So now he's like far and away with a 3-touchdown lead. But good victory for, the Ravens. And you saw tempers flaring on the sidelines for Odell and Freddie Kitchens. So who knows if Odell's even going to be back there next year. But I foresee he probably will not be. Carolina traveling to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Will Grier making his first start of his career, and it was not pretty. 27 of 44, 224 yards through the air, no touchdowns, 3 INTs. Nyheim Hines had 2 punt returns for touchdowns in this game, and it was absolute necrophilia from start to finish, with the Colts winning 38-6. There's nothing really that has to be said here. Marlon Mack scored a touchdown, over 90 yards on the ground. Jordan Wilkins had 84 yards on the ground. The Colts did whatever the hell they wanted. Jacoby Brissett only threw for 119. Only had to throw for 119, but the Colts took care of business. They took care of business. If only they did this, at maybe 2 out of the last 5 weeks, rather than losing 4 consecutive games. No, I think it was 3 consecutive games. Whatever the case may have been. All right? If these guys was able to put on this kind of performance, they could have possibly still been in the playoff race. But that's not the case. But shout out to Nyheim Hines. Game ball goes to him. It's not often you see 2 punt return touchdowns from the same guy in a game. All right, so that was a hell of a performance for him. Good victory. All right, Dolphins taking on the Bengals. This game went to overtime where the Dolphins won, 38-35. But the Bengals came back from a 28-point deficit. Let me say that again. 28-point deficit. They scored 23 points in the fourth quarter. 23 points in the fourth quarter. More importantly, all right, they were down 35-19. Pardon me, 35-12. This is what happened. All of this in the fourth quarter. Touchdown. Miami misses a field goal. Touchdown. Convert on the onside kick. Touchdown. Convert on the 2-point conversion. Then they go into overtime, and you have 4 exchanges of punts, and then ultimately their defense fails them. This was a game where they could have messed up their tank, but ultimately I believe players who go on the field, they want to win. Nobody's going to willingly pack it in or in order to go and get draft picks. You must have no level of pride. For the Dolphins, they came to play. This was not one of those games that has to be a statement sort of thing, but for Fitzpatrick, I believe this made him the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4+ touchdowns with 5 different organizations. So kudos on him. 31 of 52, 419 yards and 4 TDs. There was not too much of a run game, for the Dolphins, but this was a game that really could have been ugly for them had they blown the lead. And Andy Dalton started looking like a god, just freaking ping-pong pinging down the damn field. But regardless, the Dolphins was able to hold off that comeback. And I guess for Cincinnati fans, you were able to hold on to your tank. Tennessee taking on New Orleans. We saw the New Orleans Saints win 38-28. I'll first say congratulations to Michael Thomas breaking Marvin Harris's single-season reception record, which was once at 143 in 2002, and now it's currently sitting at 145 in the hands of the man who looks like me, Michael Thomas. And he finished it in style. At first, he caught the pass by the goal line and slammed the ball into the end zone, but they said, hey, you might have been participating in a little bit of fellatio. You got your knee down. So he said, all right, throw me the ball over the middle, Drew Brees is Jesus, and I'm going to score anyway. And that's exactly what happened 3 plays later on 3rd and goal. So shout out to him. I'll say this for Tennessee. This was a game that they needed to win as well, but luckily for them, because of the Pittsburgh loss, that now puts them into, hey, you win and you're in sort of situation. But granted, that would have been the same sort of situation going into Week 17 had Pittsburgh beat the Jets anyway. So, matter of fact, it would have been a win and you need Pittsburgh to lose. Now it's just you need to win. So now they control their own destiny. Wholeheartedly, it's in their hands. So, although they did take the loss, things actually are much more favorable for them right now. All right, so from where they sit, I'll say this much. Tannehill had 3 touchdowns on the day. You had Tajay Sharp was able to find the end zone twice. Jonnu Smith on a great play getting into the end zone, but the Saints were able to capitalize when the game got tight. All right, 3rd quarter, Saints scored 13. They scored 13. They scored 3 touchdowns. All right, Alvin Kamara on a sensational block that he had when Jared Cook was able to run it into the end zone from +50. And then what happens? He finds the end zone twice. Tennessee, over the course of the last 2 weeks, have failed to win games that they really needed to win. Very similar to what we saw with Pittsburgh. Both these teams, all they had to do was probably win 2 of their next 3, and they could have gotten into the playoffs and had it all wrapped up. But they lost 2 of their last 3. So now you're walking into Week 17. Both teams need to win, and they need the other team to lose. At least in Tennessee's case, you just need to win. For Pittsburgh's case, you need to win and also need Tennessee to lose. And speaking of Pittsburgh, good victory for New Orleans. Speaking of Pittsburgh losing to the New York Jets, I was at this game, 16-10. I'll say this much: quarterback controversy, or I should say quarterback conflict, continues. Because Devlin Hodges went out there and threw 2 INTs in the first quarter, I believe. Yeah, no, top of the second quarter was the second interception. But then you saw Devlin Hodges get benched. Mason Rudolph came into the game gunslinging and was actually playing very well before he had to leave with a shoulder injury at the end of the third quarter. Mason Rudolph was 14 of 20, 129 yards and the TD, in contrast to Devlin Hodges' 11 of 17, 84 yards and 2 INTs. There was virtually no run game whatsoever. James Conner was 6 of 32, and then I got hurt again. He couldn't play. But in the clutch, Juju Smith-Schuster misjudged a football and did not catch it on 4th down. Ridiculous. TJ Watt stripped the football, gave it back to Pittsburgh right before the end of the first half, where we saw Mason Rudolph score a touchdown and make it even at 10-10. And then the defense took care of its business in the second half. All right? Because the Jets scored a field goal on their opening possession. Then it was a punt, a punt, a punt, a punt, a punt. They scored another field goal, and then Pittsburgh's offense did virtually nothing. Nothing but punts in the whole second half. Nothing but punts until the turnover on downs to close out the game. This is why you need a quarterback. Pittsburgh signed J.T. Barrett. They also have Paxton Lynch. Rudolph is now on IR. Devlin Hodges will get the start this Sunday, but they need to figure out what their quarterback situation will be moving forward. Obviously, you know, next year Ben is returning, but there is no successor for Ben as of right now. So Pittsburgh just needs to figure out who the hell they need to move, or I say who they should trust in to play quarterback. The word from Mike Tomlin before was, we trust Devlin and Duck Hodges because he's not killing them. Last 2 games, he's been killing them. 6 INTs. So you're going to want to move this man from the QB position if he begins to struggle. But who the hell do you bring in? Who do you bring in? Because it's the last game of the season. If you are able to get the W and Tennessee by some miracle loses to the Texans, who the hell is going to be your playoff quarterback? This is yet to be seen. We'll find out if the cards happen to stack, or I should say fall in Pittsburgh's favor, which I highly doubt it will. But regardless, good victory for the Jets, taking care of business. All right, Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll say this much: Jason Garrett has got to go. Carson Wentz went out there. Let me talk about the Eagles before I talk about the Cowboys. Carson Wentz took care of business, all right? So he's 31 of 40, 319 yards and a TD on the ground. Miles Sanders, which Sanders was balling. Every single time he touched the ball, it was meaningful. All right, 20 carries, 79 yards, and a TD. Also through the air, 5 catches, 77 yards. Also, Dallas Goedert, 9 catches, 91 yards, and a TD. Philly came to play, and they said, we will not allow Dallas to score. And that they did not, at least when it comes to touchdown, because all of their points came from field goals. And now I'll say this: Ezekiel Elliott, let's talk about the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott, 13 carries, 47 yards. Abysmal. Dak, 25 of 44, 265 yards. Abysmal. Amari Cooper, not even existent. 4 catches, 24 yards, and on the last pass attempt, they threw it to Gallup, of all people, because Amari Cooper was, man, I'm on the sideline. This is ridiculous. This is why Dallas continues to lose. This is why people say Dallas is overrated. This is why, regardless of the amount of talent that you have on the field, regardless of the talent that you have inside your locker room, coaching and mentality will always serve, at the top of teams being able to ascend. And what we're seeing in Dallas, it's none of that. None of that. If by some miracle they see, the Eagles lose against the Giants and the Cowboys beat the Redskins and make it to the playoffs, get ready to get smacked by Seattle or San Francisco, because you're not going to have a good time. It's ridiculous what we're seeing from Dallas. Ridiculous. You see the situations where it's a 3rd and long, you're throwing a damn screen pass You see where it's a 2nd and 7, all of a sudden now you're running stretch when you know the defense is coming heavy on the other side. It seems like these guys are stuck in high school and everybody else is in college. It's ridiculous what I saw from Dallas. It's abysmal performance. Abysmal performance. And they continue to lose. Continue to lose against teams that are over 500. Well, in this case, the Eagles weren't. But still, ridiculous performance. And Jason Garrett needs to, not be fired because his contract's going to be up. So there's no way in hell he should return next year. And for Jerry Jones, this is on you now. You got rid of Jason Garrett, and I saw a post on where Des Bryant had shared it where it says the list of players' careers that in their prime Jason Garrett wasted. And to be quite honest with you, is correct. Because I've never been one to say somebody's career was wasted if they ended up being an all-time great, but they never won a Super Bowl. But Jason Garrett definitely is the master of wasting people's time. Because it made no sense to me. The amount of talent that this man has had and underperformed with, I can't deal with it. And more often, it's underperformance versus people just being injured. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me. Abysmal performance. Abysmal performance. All right, Cardinals taking on the Seahawks. I got one word for you. I should say two words. Chandler Jones. Man came to play. 4 sacks on the day on Russell Wilson. More importantly, Kenyon Drake was able to find the end zone and ran over 166 yards. Kendrick Drake found the end zone twice. They took care of business. Kyler Murray was 11 of 18, 118 and a TD. Then he got hurt, and Brett Hundley came in, and he was 4 of 9 for 49 yards, but he didn't kill, the Cardinals because the ground game was working. They ran well over 200 plus yards on this particular day. They didn't have to do too much with the passing attack because Seattle's defense could not get a stop. We did see Chris Carson get hurt, ultimately nullifying that run game, which they definitely need to depend on to open up that playbook for Russell Wilson. Now we're not going to see Carson anymore. We're not going to see Penny, but insert Marshawn Lynch. Do I expect this man to come out here and have a virtuoso performance, run for over 150 yards after not even playing a game in over a year? No. However, it's a possibility. Still is Marshawn Lynch, but we ain't talking about that right now. Big time W for the Cardinals. How did they do it? That defense got after Russell Wilson all day long. Sacked him 5 times, but he was under pressure. Damn near like 13, 14, 15. It was ridiculous. More importantly, Arizona possessed the ball 34 minutes. Seattle had 9 penalties. You can't win like that. And if anytime you let a team run for over 150 yards on the ground, you're going to have a bad time. Good victory for the Cardinals. And now this sets up a showdown Sunday Night Football between the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. And remember, I said that I'm picking Seattle to win because I believe they would beat the 49ers 2 times this season. I'm still right now, I'm deciding on how I feel about that. I don't want to be one to pull back on my prediction. But damn it, with Carson and Penny out, and now you got Marshawn Lynch coming back, who knows? But I'll let you guys know on my prediction of that, tomorrow. Now, Giants taking on the Redskins. This game went to overtime. Daniel Jones, 5 TDs. Eli Manning in training came to play, and they were partying. I should say Daniel Jones and Eli after the game. All right, they went somewhere to go party. Dwayne Haskins left with an ankle injury, which looked very nasty. And then Case Keenum came in and started balling, man. Balling. He went 16 of 22, 158 and a TD. He did nothing to try to take them out of the game. Adrian Peterson passed Walter Payton for 4th all-time on the all-time, rushing touchdown list. Okay, on top of that, Steven Sims was able to find the end zone twice. The Giants had a 28 to they had a 35-21 lead. They had a 28-14 lead, but Case Keenum brought his Redskins back. But ultimately, opening possession in overtime, the defense continued to bend, and then ultimately they broke when Daniel Jones was able to find his man in the end zone. But this was a very exciting game, and we cannot go without saying Saquon Barkley. This man is a grown man. 22 carries, 189 yards and a TD, and through the air, 4 catches, 90 yards and a TD. Grown man. Absolute grown man. But I'll say this much. I was hoping Daniel Jones would not have too big of a performance. Can't even lie to you. I was hoping that we'd see Eli Manning once again. And going into week 17, we're probably going to see Daniel Jones again. I cannot foresee a reason why they won't. I think what they'll do with Eli, since he got his last W, unless Daniel Jones injures himself, there's no way we're going to see Eli. Eli's most likely going to retire with a 500 record, 117 and 117, after getting that W in week 15. But good victory for the Giants. Oh, God, I really wish I'd see Eli, man, just so I could say vintage Eli once more. Giants, give me a reason to have Eli Manning in the game. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs taking on the Bears necrophilia. The Bears lost 26-3. They did nothing offensively. Nothing. And this is why people are calling for Mitch Trubisky to no longer be the quarterback. You saw Patrick Mahomes go into the end zone. Why? Because it's free real estate. But at the same time, he showcased why you shouldn't have drafted him and let him drop to 10. You should have got drafted with the number 2 pick to the Chicago Bears. This is the Bears' drives. Punt. 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 End of the first half. Punt. No. Turnover on downs. A field goal. Turnover on downs. Another turnover on downs. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. You want to hear some statistics for the Bears? All right. I'll let you know. Mitchell Trubisky, 18 of 34. 157. On the ground, David Montgomery, 13 carries, 57 yards. Through the air, Allen Robinson, 6 catches, 53 yards. They did a whole lot of nothing. And Kansas City was killing them on the game clock. All right, because they possessed the ball 33 minutes in contrast to the 26 of Chicago. But if you take a look at Kansas City's drives to start the game, 8 minutes on their touchdown, 3 minutes on the field goal, nearly 7 minutes on their next touchdown. They had lengthy drives. 5 minutes on their next touchdown in the fourth quarter. 6 minutes on their field goal. They were chewing up clock all day and getting stops defensively. And the Bears did nothing about it. And this is not good football. Passing yards, not even 150 on the ground. They did eclipse 100, but it didn't feel like they did. Good victory for Kansas City. They need a Patriot loss, and they also need a win in order to get that number 2 seed. I do not see it happening. But good victory for those guys. And for Chicago, get Trubisky the hell up out of here, man. Get him the hell up out of here. I think I've seen enough. As I always say, I've never been one to pull the plug on young quarterbacks, but if you're reaching for the outlet, I understand. It's about time to take out that plug, man. Trubisky experience ain't cutting it. This man's not going to be the quarterback to lead you to the promised land. Try to set up some sort of trade and get Cam Newton. Try to get Teddy Bridgewater. Try to get somebody. But all I know is Trubisky, that ain't it. And last but not least, NFC North Championship game between the Packers and the Vikings. And I'll say this much. The Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins prove once again, or I should say Kirk Cousins proves once again why this man probably will not be able to win you the game under the bright lights. He's 0 for 9 now on Monday Night Football. 0 for 9. They were playing with Matt Boone as their starting running back because Alexander Madison and also Dalvin Cook were hurt. So that definitely sucked for the Vikings. However, through the air, Adam Thielen did not even have a catch. His only touch was, 2 touches. He had a drop and also a gain of like 2 yards on a jet sweep. Ridiculous. How does this man not get involved in this game? You have to figure out a way to get this man to football. The Packers started out extremely slow. 3 turnovers in the first half. The Packers have only turned the football over 9 times coming into this game. And they had 3 turnovers in the very first half. Aaron Jones put the ball on the ground. Devontae Adams put the ball on the ground. Aaron Rodgers put the ball into the hands of Anthony Harris. And the Vikings offense simply could not capitalize. Outside of the touchdown to Diggs, they did nothing. Nothing. Their 10 points came off of the turnovers. This is the Packers' drive. They fumbled the very opening possession. 3rd play of the game, I might add. Then you get a field goal from Dan Bailey. After there was a 3 different play calls for the Vikings inside the damn 5, and they could not get into the end zone. Then the Packers, they punt. The Vikings punt. Packers go down the field. They tie it up at 3 apiece. Then you get the interception. That results in a touchdown to Diggs after 3 plays. Then take a listen to the rest of the Vikings drives. Punt, 3 and out. Turnover on downs, 4 and out. Punt, 3 and out. Punt, 3 and out. That's 4 consecutive drives in which they did not even pick up a first down. Punt, or I should say interception, right? That's another interception. A punt after 5, another 3 and out, and then a punt, turnover on down. These guys were not playing good offensively. And defensively, their defense kept them in the game for the most part before Aaron Jones pretty much took over and scored those 2 touchdowns. Zadarius Smith was a havoc all day in the backfield hitting Kirk Cousins. That was a big problem. It's not as if the protection wasn't there for Kirk Cousins. He just was missing a ton of reads, and then when it became time to bring the heat, the Packers did. The Vikings are clinched at that 6th seed right now. So they will be playing against either New Orleans, maybe Green Bay, maybe Seattle. But I'll tell you this much. We've seen the Vikings, up until this point, they were undefeated at home. They're 4-4 on the road. Them going on the road, things ain't looking too favorable. This offense got to get going. They need Dalvin Cook back. Hell, they need Madison back too. They need that run game. Because when it's on the shoulders of Kirk Cousins, he will not deliver. He won't deliver. And I don't believe him. I don't. I thought maybe he made me a believer, but now they're going on the road and they're going to be that number 6 seed. Man, they're going to have a bad time. Depending on the matchup, they might have a bad time. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been your 2019 NFL Week 16 post-game analysis show. Let me know what you thought of Week 16. I have been your host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. Let me go get myself some tea, some honey, rest my doggone voice. I'm still going to put out some content for you guys. But stay tuned. I'm going to be giving you my predictions for Week 17. And a lot of people have been asking about the NBA commentary. Initially, I was going to try it today, but it was so hard to try to get, the jokes out, or even hell, say my intro at that. So I figured, you know what? I'm still going to do it, but I'm going to probably release it a little bit later once my voice comes back. It should take about like 2 days or so, and I should be fine. So maybe by Saturday, I should be fine. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, give you guys a pregame, and so forth. Although tonight I have to go record the Hold My Nuggets podcast. Regardless, I'm going to try my best to rest my voice when I can. I'll catch you guys later.